Welcome to the Cornbread and Kool-Aid podcast for fans of the Detroit Lions. And today, probably the Detroit Tigers a little bit because, the game's on right there. So if you see me doing this, I would ask you to excuse me, but it's playoff baseball game. They double dipped on me today. You just have to roll with it. I will do my best to focus to do the podcast fundamentally about the Detroit Lions. But the Tigers are playing a playoff baseball game today, and Tarek Skubal's pitching. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, you don't. And that's okay. So this podcast always acknowledges the Godfather, Mr. Mike Ward, the super producer extraordinaire. Without Mike Ward, there would be no Cornbread and Kool-Aid podcast. So we always take a minute and acknowledge our guy. This is week 5. Yeah. Week 5 of the NFL season, 2025 season. And I'm struggling to stay focused. All right, we got to turn the game off. Okay, week 5. The Lions are in Cincinnati. They were in Cincinnati. They're probably still in Cincinnati. They took on the Bengals today. The Bengals came in 2-2. They started off 2-0, and then Joe Burrow went down, right? Their quarterback, one of the best 3 or 4 in the game, and it obviously set them back quite a bit. And you see it. So they came in 2-2, kind of reeling. Simply put, the Lions are the better team. They should have went in, and much like last week with Cleveland, I said it was just a business meeting. You go in and take care of your business, right? They got no Joe Burrow. This game shouldn't have been competitive. I contend that despite the final score, the game wasn't really competitive. I will also say that with a caveat that the Lions haven't played their best football yet. I mean, they put that 50 on the Bears, and I think I said last week that wasn't even a perfect game. That was an A-, right? And then they played really well in Baltimore. People now believe Baltimore's not as good, and so that win is not getting as much credibility as it would have been at the beginning of the year or back in April when they announced the schedule. Many people were counting that as a loss, myself included, right? I thought they'd win in Green Bay because I just, there's a lot of things about Green Bay I didn't think were as good as other people that may or may not be coming to fruition. But I didn't know that Baltimore might have been one of the best teams in football. Going into the season, a lot of us thought that. So the point of all that is, as we sit 5 games in, I thought they would be 4-1, at worst 3-2. They are in fact 4-1 because they went to Cincinnati and beat the Bengals. They were the better team. They could have dominated more. And this was the same trick bag I was in last week where it was a win, a sound win. Today it was 13 points. 37-24 was the final. They shouldn't have gotten near 24, and we should have had 50. This game should have been 50-14 or 50-10. And so then the question becomes, your team's won 4 straight. None of them were competitive. None of the last 4 games was there ever really a moment. Baltimore, maybe by middle of 3rd, I knew we were the better team. So then the thing becomes, how do you as a fan, how do you as a podcaster, how do you do this, right? How do you see your team win 4 in a row, dominant? I mean, double-digit wins across the board. I think Baltimore was only 8, 38-30. But they got a garbage touchdown at the end. That was a two-score. That was a double-digit win. Today was 13. I feel like we might have beaten Cleveland by 24 or something like that. How do you evaluate your team when you know they're good? You know they're one of the best teams in the league. They're winning games pretty soundly, and you still don't feel satisfied. No, that's not the right word. I'm gonna rely on you guys to tell me this one because I don't really know. What I believe is this: they're so good that I don't know how to treat wins anymore. Like I'm a Detroit Lions fan, and I'm complaining about how they're winning. I feel like I'm not a good person for this. I think that it's hard to win games in the National Football League. Okay, I'm gonna get serious. It's hard to win games in the NFL, no matter where they're played. And the Lions have gone on the road. and beating a good Baltimore team. We thought it was a good Baltimore team. It looked like a good Baltimore team at the time. Today's win is a win. I just think you got to take the Green Bay game out, and this is just a really good football team. And if the worst thing you can do is bitch and complain that your team didn't win by 30, they only won by 13, because that's where I am today. I feel like Art or Kenny or Bear, somebody's going to come in and agree with me, right? Andy might come in, give me a thumbs up, right? I am happy. Don't get it wrong. I'm happy. But I watch every play of that game, and I just still, I'm going to be honest, 4 wins in a row, 4-1 record, clearly one of the best teams in the NFC, and I don't feel like they played their best football yet. That's it in a nutshell. So when you go and you win 37-24, we know you're the better team. They can beat people on the road. They can beat people at home. It doesn't matter, right? And as fans, we still like, I feel like they left something out there, you know? And I think Bear sent that at like halftime. Guys, I feel like we left 14 points, right? We're like, that's who we are now as Lions fans. And it's kind of funny because I would have never imagined we would be that, right? At the end of the day, right. So I agree. We are a lot better than the score says. But then what do we do with that, Bear? What do we do with that? You and I know. We watch every play. We text back and forth through every game, and we see what we see. We know, and Dan Campbell probably said it again. His term is, we got a lot to clean up. Here's my feeling. Today's effort doesn't beat Kansas City next week. I don't know if today's effort beats Tampa or Washington or Philly. That's the only reason I say this stuff is because, but if you believe in the concept of playing to the level of your competition, with maybe what they've done the last 2 weeks and kind of lulled us into we're good, right? We are as good as we think we are, right? But we saw mistakes and we saw penalties and we saw things that we didn't like, sloppy play, busted coverage, and Amik had a really good game. And I wanted to, shout him out. And then he got beat on a double move by one of the best receivers in the league. So what do I say? He got beat on a double move by one of the best receivers in the league. Welcome to the club. It happens to a lot of guys. So Amik's playing too well. Amik Robertson is just quickly becoming one of my favorite players. You're not going to get any Amik disrespect here. Now, Kenny's boy is losing me. I've been fighting for Terrion Arnold, and Kenny will bash him at every opportunity, multiple text messages a game. And I don't know. So if you believe in the concept of playing to the level of your competition, what does that mean next Sunday night in prime time against Kansas City? Maybe it works both ways. Maybe when you're playing Cleveland and Cincinnati, you come in a little lax and you only win by 24, you only win by 13. What if it works in the other way? What if it's legit and the next 2 games you have our Sunday night at Kansas City, follow that up with Monday night at home against Tampa? Those are 2 Super Bowl caliber opponents in primetime games where you're the only game on and everybody's watching you. So if you believe in the concept of playing to the level of your competition, we should expect to see 2 very good efforts over the next 2 weeks. It's not an accident that the Lions Jared Goff is 15-3 in primetime games since 2023. 15-3. This team gets up for big games. This team gets it. And I think that it's always a difficult thing. This is always the toughest podcast when they didn't play their best game, but they won the game handily. And you want to say, hey, just another win. This is who we are. I'll wrap up my little overview rant like this. I still think the Lions are one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the whole league. I still think they can beat any team in the league. Philly lost at home today. So that it doesn't mean we'll get to do that later. I won't project Philadelphia because we get to go to Philly and play them in about 8 weeks. So when you wonder how good your team is and you're trying to measure it week by week, it's tough to do. I'm not going to do that anymore. I came in this morning and said, I just want them to win the game. Number one, win the game. They did that. Play well. And by the end of this podcast, I may convince you that they played well. I don't know if I'm convinced, Bear. They didn't. They made some mistakes, but let's look at the game. Like that first drive, you can't deny was just solid. That's Detroit Lions football. Mix of run and pass. Goff looks sharp. They did everything you wanted them to do in that first drive and go down and score a touchdown. That's how you open a game. That's how you mentality-wise say to the other guy, I'm here. I just came into your house and I kicked over your table. What are you gonna do about it? Right. And Joe Burrow's not there. So it's like going into somebody's house and you know their dad's not home. And you just act a fool because the person you should be scared of most isn't there. Right. But the Bengals took their drive and we made a couple of dumb penalties that gave them an opportunity to score. And my early thought was, we can't play sloppy all day. I don't think this team is good enough to beat us, even if we play a B- type game. But you can't give them the idea that they get to stick around. You can't do that. So the defense is opportunistic. Kirby's just out here. Somehow the ball finds Kirby Joseph. I like what Amik did. I felt like outside of the one play, Amik played a really good game. He would be in my running for the most impactful player on the field today, if not for that double move. I think that if I have a real concern, Giovanni Manu might not be ready. Now, I don't know what the answer is for that. Well, no, I know what the answer is. The answer is Taylor Decker needs to get healthy. Giovanni Manu is not. Now, maybe I'm wrong. You guys tell me. He's playing against Trey Hendrickson. We're not going to play one of the best pass rushers in football every single week. But I was concerned about Manu early, and he did not play better as the game went on. Now, Ratledge and Mahogany week 2 versus Ratledge and Mahogany week 1 was a massive jump. Maybe you get the same thing out of Giovanni Manu. But what I need is Taylor Decker to get healthy enough to play against Kansas City. And because I don't know that I want Houston lining up over Giovanni Manu. So if I ever worry, I guess that's it. And it goes back to what I've kept saying, injuries. What concerns me? One thing, injuries. And with Decker out, Aleem McNeil might be back soon though. So I thought though that Manu's struggles are the only thing that really bothered me. As far as the game goes, I saw a couple of penalties. Hutch had a sack taken away on a bad penalty. There was a dumb Kirby Joseph unsportsmanlike penalty out of bounds. That stuff we just can't do against good teams. Good teams will make us pay. Number 15, who we're playing next week, he's going to make you pay for that, right? They're still the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't go play in Kansas City a B- effort and think you're going to get away with it. I just don't think you will. So clean up all that stuff. You're still up 14-3 at halftime. You've been opportunistic defensively. You got 3 turnovers at halftime. Truthfully, I think all of us, and Art might have said it, maybe it was Bear who said it to me, should be more. And it should have been. It should have been 20-7. It should have been, or 20-3. It should have been 21-3. It should have been more. And that's when you know your team's good. When you're up at halftime, clearly controlling the game, and your overwhelming feeling is we're still not playing our best football. That's fine. But then when you come out in the second half, that opportunistic defense strikes again. Anzalone makes a huge play. We come right back and get a score and go up 21-3. And then before you know it, it's 28-3, and the dagger, that should have been the dagger. They called a weird pass interference or holding or something on Anzalone that I didn't love. But okay. But you're dominating the game, which is important. When you look at the game, how do you feel about how the team is playing? You see gaps, you see lapses, you see Manu's not playing well at left tackle. He can get better. He's a young guy. He's still rough. But what I saw was my quarterback was playing well. And I just think that this team offensively is relatively simple. We're going to run the ball. St. Brown is unstoppable, like literally unstoppable. I don't know if it's the scheme. I don't know if it's how he runs routes or he and Goff have some special connection. Hey, welcome to the show, Andy. Good to see you. But St. Brown just almost quietly, without you paying attention, gets first downs. And if it's third down, everybody in the stadium know 14's getting the pass, and it doesn't matter. You can't stop him. That dude's so good. I think that when you can play a B- game and they get a couple of garbage touchdowns, then I'm looking up and I was like, okay, we got sloppy and it's 28-17. That was a moment when I said, okay, what do we do? We're not about to fall apart here and let them back into this game, right? It's 28-17. What? And we went right down the field and reminded everybody that we were a better team. Nice throw, nice catch, Tesla, bang. It's 35-17, and they don't go away. They get another garbage touchdown with about 3 minutes left to T. Higgins, and the game's 35-24. But it was never in doubt. The overwhelming feeling was this game should not be this close. That's what you felt more than anything, is this game shouldn't be this close. And for them, maybe it felt good, like we didn't give up, we kept fighting. For me, it was clearly the Lions lost focus in the fourth quarter, which is an uncharacteristic thing about them. They don't generally do that. But this is the NFL, and Trey Hendrickson is a good player. And T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are really good players, right? But the better team on the field from first kick was clearly the Detroit Lions. Now, if you sleep and you lose focus, another team can make it look better than it was. Andy brings up a great point. Tesla is balling out on special teams too, which speaks to a Detroit mentality, a guy who's willing to earn his playing time, who understands he can help the team in a lot of ways. Catching touchdowns is better, but I'm fine with him on special teams as well. And so if you look at this game and you're a negative person, you'll say, this effort won't get it done in the next 5 games. And I don't disagree with you. It will not. This effort will not. The next 5 are at Kansas City, Tampa. I feel like Minnesota's in there, but it might be at home. And then at Washington and at Philly with a bye week in there, right? We have to play better in the next 5 games than we have in the last 2. But again, I go back to the playing to the level of your competition. And all that we might talk about and what you're going to hear in the radio all week, you know who knows all that? Is Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell knows that. And I guarantee you're going to hear him say, we got a lot of stuff to clean up. We got a lot of stuff to clean up. He's right. And I just think that's what it is. That's what good teams do. They find a way. They find a way every single week. They find a way on the road. They find a way at home. They find a way on Monday night, on Sunday night. They find a way against bad teams. They find a way against good teams. Because don't let anybody diminish the Baltimore win now. Going into that game, going into the season, many people had the Baltimore game counted as a loss. And even going into that game 13 days ago or whatever it was, many people still, I think everybody on the 4-letter picked Baltimore, right? Not that they're experts or smart or anything, but even going into the game, a lot of people picked Baltimore. So winning ugly or beating bad teams by less than people think you should is not the end of the world. It almost is a good thing because you don't get to go in and get full of yourself. They shouldn't feel great about this win. They won the game, so they should feel good. They're 4-1. They're probably, on paper, still the best team in the league, in my opinion. One of the best teams in the league. So, all right, we'll do a few more questions, and I got to go watch a baseball game. I mean, I got to be honest with you guys. I'm not trying to cut it short. It wasn't a pretty win, but we have a rule on this podcast. We don't ever apologize for wins. We never apologize for wins. So we're going to take it. We break it down and say they didn't play their best game, but they played well enough to beat a bad team by double digits. I don't know what else we want. If we're at a point now where we just can't be satisfied with double-digit wins against bad teams, 8-point wins on the road against good teams, then let's just wait and see what happens. We got 2 weeks, and then we get a bye. Let's see where we are after a road game against Kansas City and home against Tampa, Sunday night and Monday night, respectively. Let's see where we are. We can have different conversations next Sunday night if y'all willing to stay up late enough with me, because I'll be up. Let's do 3 questions and wrap this up and go watch baseball. Because if you're not here, I understand why. If you are here, you probably like me, got the game on over there. Okay, first question. Felt like this was more of a Bengals loss than a Lions win, but who would you consider player of the game? So you got your little shot in. Jeff Tio, Jeff Tio. I don't know what that means. Jeff Tio, whatever that means, believes it was a Bengals loss more than a Lions win. I ask, what's the difference, Jeff Tio? What's the difference? Right? Andy just brings up another good point. We did what we needed to do to win. We didn't break out anything huge. There was times when they looked conservative and they were running the ball. But I would ask Jeff Tio, what's the difference? If the only team we can possibly beat today is the team we play today, and we win the game by 13, I guess I know what you mean, but I don't agree. I think you believe, I guess you believe that the Bengals and their mistakes are the reason the Lions won the game. I would disagree. I would say the Lions got pass pressure on this kid, or maybe you're just like, they don't have Joe Burrow, so that doesn't count. So I don't agree with that either. I think the Lions were the better team in every phase of the game, but for a 7-minute stretch, which even then, one was a busted play. That was the best receiver in football, one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in football making plays. I just think that if you watch the first drive, if you watch the 2 drives that ended in Demo's pass and the Tesla touchdown, you know what? It was enough. To Andy's point, we only needed our B game. And I know I get it. I started this off by saying, I think we're making up things now. We don't need our A game every week. It would be great if they play the AA plus game every week. I don't know if that's sustainable. They're human beings. And the other teams are pretty damn good, by the way. There's another team trying to stop you, and they're pretty good. Even the Bengals. Trey Hendrickson's one of the best pass rushers in the league, right? So to answer your question, the thing about this game is you can make a case for a number of people. Anzalone could make a case. Alex Anzalone was all over the field. He made a huge interception. He had 3 or 4 tackles, a big tackle for loss. He was, whatever his stat line says, you can watch that game and say, damn, Alex Anzalone's balling out, right? I think Sam Laporta, obviously, we got a Sam Laporta sighting today. He could make a legit case. When you have a game like that, you have to. But Laporta had probably 5 catches, close to 100 yards, I'm going to say, and that touchdown. St. Brown can make a case every week. I contend St. Brown is in the MVP conversation. He's that good. I think I used the term unstoppable earlier. So there's a Hutch, obviously, should have had 3 sacks, only had 1. I think the other 2 got called back on penalties. If not for the double move, Amik Robertson could make a case for play, which is the point. I've ripped off 5 guys: Anzalone, Laporta, St. Brown, Hutch, Amik. If not for that double move, certainly could make a case. And then there's always Jared Goff. You can say that's my bias, and it might be, but he just had another workmanlike, like 19 for 23, 260 and 3 touchdowns. That's all he did. Right? There's so many. Derek Barnes made some great play, right? Hutch could have had a safety too, by the way. Good catch. There's a lot of dudes, and that's the point with the Lions. So your backhanded early statement about maybe it's a Bengals loss almost disproved itself with your question, right? With your question, which is, who's the player of the game? When it's too difficult for you to decide who the player of the game is, and yes, I'm watching the baseball game. And for those of you who joined late, the baseball game's up. There's too many guys to choose from, because I can make a case for Laporta. I can certainly make a case for St. Brown or Hutch or Meek or Anzalone or Jared Goff. Any of them. So for today, because Goff would be too easy, I'm not going to penalize Hutch for the penalties because they're not his fault. I'm Derek Barnes was all over. I'm going to go with Anzalone. Yeah, I'm going to go with Anzalone. The interception was big. Yeah, I'm going to go with Anzalone. Hutch can make it. I'm going to go. I just felt like Anzalone was all over today, making plays. I felt like Anzalone was balling out today. So, all right, next question. I already said, okay. Do you think this effort can win in Kansas City next week? I already said this effort cannot, probably cannot, but I don't think it matters because you're not going to get this effort. To Andy's point, today, somewhere we knew a B effort would win. I don't think you get on a plane, you go to Kansas City. And I think the good news about today's effort is Dan Campbell gets to pull up the film and say, guys, if you do that next week, we're done. You do that next week, we're done. But we're talking about a 13-point win that probably should have been 24 or 27. We have to remember that, right? These are there's a term, first world problems, when somebody's bitching and complaining about something that's not really that big a deal. These are good team problems. This is the kind of stuff that good teams worry about, that good teams think about. I simply think the Lions are better, much better than the Bengals, which is why a B effort gets you a 13-point win that really wasn't competitive. I think they're better than the Chiefs. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that flippantly. That is zero cornbread and zero Kool-Aid. I think if you objectively look at the rosters, you will, woo, Patrick Mahomes, whatever. Okay. After that, what are you talking about? No, Travis Kelce? Okay, you haven't been watching this year. If I give you an opportunity right now, you can have Travis Kelce right now, or you can have Sam Laporta right now. And if you want to give me your vote in the comments, go ahead. Mine are not. Don't trust anything I say about this team, right? Because I know who I am. But if you're objective, and I do not profess that I'm capable of being objective, but even with cornbread and Kool-Aid, if I can give you right now your choice of tight ends, Travis Kelce right now, Sam Laporta right now, today. Okay. And then after that, who on that roster is better than St. Brown? Who on that roster is better than Hutch? Houston's good. Not better than Hutch. Who on that roster is better than Jack Campbell? I'm not saying they suck, because they don't. And they got speedsters. They got a version of J-Mo. Sure. What they don't have is a version of St. Brown, because nobody's got a version of St. Brown outside of Minnesota, Cincinnati, maybe a couple others, right? Andy says Travis's new album sucks. I'm going to have to trust you on that, because while she might be a lovely young lady, I have no familiarity with her music. And we're not bogging down my podcast and making me miss the baseball game because you're trying to get people mad at me. I ain't saying nothing bad about that young lady. Nope, not this guy. And I ain't gonna even like. No. I'm staying on point. We're talking about the Lions Bengals. Nice try, Andy. I think the Lions are a better team. So I'm not worried about the game. I'm not worried about where the game is. I think about talent on paper. I think about coaching. I think about the culture. I think about the system. Like, I don't worry about any team. I just don't. There's no game on the schedule that's left, no matter where it's played, that I don't think the Lions, if they play to their capabilities, can win. And that includes the road games in Washington and Philadelphia. Now, I hope Taylor Decker's back next week, because Manu wasn't great today. I hope Aleem McNeil's ready to go. That makes us better, right? It'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting test. Kansas City's still good. They're very, very good. I think that we can win that. We went into Kansas City 2 years ago and beat them. Open up the season. I'm not as concerned, probably, as other people. If the question about the Eagles is, do I think the Lions can win in Philadelphia? Yes. Why not? Why not? On paper, I think we're every bit as talented as them. The game's in Philly. Are you going group by group? You tell me you want their wide receiver room over ours? I don't think it's that cut and dry. A.J. Brown's good. Devontae Smith is good. It's the kid from Penn State. Their third receiver is that dude from Penn State that I didn't love. Dotson. That's a good group. But if I can give you J-Mo, I give you St. Brown, I give you Tesla, and they can have Dallas Goedert, you can get Sam Laporta and Gibbs out of the backfield. Okay. The running back room is Saquon Barkley and Will Shipley. No, they signed somebody else. Okay. Is Saquon better than either of our guys individually? Maybe, probably. I'm fine with that. Together? Now, but if you're telling me that I only should be concerned about the Eagles, okay, I'm fine with that. Because you know what that means? That means we get a shot at them in 3 or 4 weeks, and then we're the best two teams, and I'll see them in the NFC Championship game. I'll take that. But I don't know. You can go other teams. Tampa doesn't scare me. We get Tampa at home. We'll see what Tampa is. I just don't know that to the question. I think the Lions are talented enough and capable of going to Kansas City and winning next week. If they don't play to their capability, can they lose? Sure. I don't have to worry about Buffalo, Andy. If I got to play Buffalo, it's in Santa Clara, California, and I don't give a damn. That's called the Super Bowl, buddy. They're not on our regular season schedule. So if we get to play Buffalo, it's in Santa Clara, and I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So no, Andy's throwing teams and concepts at me, which I like. I love interactive. If you're out there and you got questions you want to, cool. Andy's participating tonight, and I love it. Buffalo doesn't scare me. But like I said, if I got to worry about Buffalo, it's on a trip to Santa Clara in February, and I'll take it, right? But next week, the game's in Kansas City, Missouri. It's in prime time. Jared Goff's 15-3. 15-3 in prime time. We owe Tampa. We got a revenge. We got a revenge from one of our 2 losses last year. I don't know if Mike Evans is going to play in that game. If he doesn't, it'll be impactful. And I think we're better. I think we're a better team than we were week 3 or week 2 last season when they beat us. I think that we're capable of playing better. It is important because it's prime time. People are watching. They're going to say what they say. I think that for me, if they play well and Kansas City plays an A+ game and beats them, I'll be fine. I think that they continue to show me bouncing back after that Green Bay effort and coming along as they have, that they're one of the best few teams in the league. And when they play to their level, they're as good as anybody. All right, last question, and we're going to go watch some baseball. All right, what's the last one? Any concerns about J-Mo? Huh. I don't have any. I think he only had 1 catch today, like 9 yards, something like that. Might have been his only target, by the way. I'm not really worried about anything. I just spent the last 40 minutes telling you, or 35 minutes or so, telling you why I think this is the best team in football. Telling you why today they gave a B effort and won the game by double figures on the road. Telling you why I think that there were 7 or 8 players we considered. Oh boy. I think today's game was just a kind of Laporta St. Brown game. Every game isn't every guy's game. There's a degree of, we saw 2 weeks ago was a Demo game. I think he had $150. And then last week he had very little. It was a Gibbs game. It happens. Jared Goff is a quarterback who's going to go where he's supposed to go with the ball, where the play dictates. It is important for J-Mo, and I don't know that J-Mo has said anything or will say anything. There will be the occasional game where J-Mo gets 1 target, 1 catch, 9 yards. But they won the game by double figures. If J-Mo is who I think he's become, his answer will be, don't care, we won the game. Don't care, we won the game. That's all that matters. That's my answer. So am I worried? I don't know if the question is, am I worried that we only targeted him once? Nope. Jared Goff threw 23 passes today. I think 9 of them went to St. Brown, maybe 10. I like that distribution. Spread the others wherever you want. I think that Laporta got his share. Brock Wright caught a touchdown. They will be spread out. Tesla, whoever it is, right? That doesn't bother me. There will be games where the situation, the play call, the defensive scheme will allow J-Mo to get loose. And when he does, Goff will throw him the ball, And when Goff throws him the ball, he needs to catch it. I don't really think there's an issue. I think today was just a St. Brown doing what St. Brown did today. Laporta had a day. I have not heard anything coming out of Allen Park, Michigan about about JMO that's negative, right? That's it. He does a lot of other things. His job is not just catching passes. I contend that some of his routes allow other people to get open. Some of his route running create a situation where Laporta can have the big game. Some of his routes free up St. Brown to get open, to make plays. I think they shade coverage his way. I think he blocks on running plays. I'm fine with JMO. I'm not worried. Unless you know something I don't know, I don't have anything to be concerned about with Jameson Williams. I think he'll have a game pretty soon where he'll put up six catches. He'll go well over 100 and have a couple of big ones. That's his job. For now, keep your head down, keep blocking, keep doing your job. So there's not much more, I think, that we need to go over. Today was a workmanlike win. Andy's over here trolling me. And I want to do it really badly, but there's a baseball game on we're going to go watch. So I'm not going to let him troll me with songs. My favorite song. That's awesome. I appreciate you joining today. Ran through pretty quick. Like I said, there was not a lot to break down, right? I didn't feel like there was a lot to break down. They won the game. They were supposed to win the game. They got the job done. Solid 13-point win, effort, full team effort. Everybody contributed. My quarterback played well. Everybody did their bit. And next week's going to be a bigger one, though. And it's going to be late. So I'm going to tell y'all to take a nap because I need y'all here late Sunday night after the game so we can do this right, because I'm not waiting to Monday or Tuesday. If I can't do it that night, I don't do it. Y'all know that. So we will see y'all next week in Kansas City. Appreciate everybody joining. Thank you, Andy, for all the fun. We will have an offline conversation about my favorite Taylor Swift song. Go watch a baseball game, guys. Have a good night. Appreciate everybody. See you next week.